guys and welcome back to my channel. So, in today's video, we are doing a university Q&A and boy, did you guys have a lot of questions for me. If you guys are new, hi, my name is Emma. I have just almost finished my last year of my degree. I take comparative literature. As I'm filming this, it's my last week and I have like, what, 5 weeks until everything I have to do is due in and then I am done. It's fucking terrifying. Some of you are just starting uni, just about to start uni. Hopefully this Q&A will clue you in onto some things I've now experienced now that this is almost over. Some people say that university are like the 3 quickest years of your life. Believe them. I have no idea where these last 3 years have gone. I'm kind of like, thank God I did do a weekly vlog because otherwise I would have no idea what happened in the last 3 years. But as I got a lot of questions, pause me, get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack. It's gonna be a long one. So post on Instagram for any questions and on my YouTube community tab. I do use that a lot now, so keep an eye out for them. Let's just start with the one that really everybody wants to know. I swear to God, if my like average view rate starts to decline right here because I tell all of you and you click off the video, well, I'll know. A lot of you have asked where I go to university. You all know I go to university in London. There are like loads of UOL, though it's huge for loads of different universities, but I go to King's College London, which is very strange to say on camera. I'm like, it feels wrong because I spent 3 years, more than 3 years not doing it. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I go to King's. See this rather, went to King's. I mean, I technically still go until I graduate, but still. Yeah, oh my God, it feels really weird. It's not that big of a deal to say, but like it feels weird. I think I did get a couple questions on why I never actually said where I go. My main reasons were just like privacy. You know, some of my friends that I like have been in my vlogs and stuff, they didn't necessarily like, sign up to have like everyone else say where they go to uni. And then as well, because with Ophelia as well, we were kind of like, we've been like being back and forth about like this like stuff, being like, do we say, what do we say, like how do we like, we've essentially always agreed on saying like privacy things, so it's like very useful. But yeah, I go to King's. Saying where you go and then you're going to be there for 3 years is a long time, so that's like quite intense. So I'm like, you know, let's mitigate, let's not make it easy for people to stalk me. Would you stay at the same uni for your masters? I am applying for master's degrees. I have not applied to King's. They don't do anything that really interests me to do, and that's the only reason why. Even if they did, I probably wouldn't apply because I'm like, I've been there for 3 years, why would I like add a 4th on? That would mean that I feel like there's no difference to what I'm doing. A bit of a change is a good thing. Like, it's nice. Change scenery is always nice. Is uni as hard as everyone says? I mean, uni can be as hard as you make it. You can work your ass off, work so hard, you know, get first on everything, secure a graduate job for when you leave and all that kind of stuff. Or you can piss it away. It's completely up to you how hard you make uni. Do you want to do well? Yeah, it's hard. You kind of go from being spoon-fed to being less spoon-fed. There's just a lot of independent work that you have to do. It's not like, oh, do homework, turn up to class. It's more like, read these 5 books for this 1 week and all of these other articles and come prepared with a PowerPoint and questions and your own independent ideas. And also it does differ by degree. It's so annoyingly subjective, that question. Do you think that London unis cater for the elite because of expensive living costs? No, not particularly. You do get a lot of very rich international students because I feel like if they're going to come to England, they're going to go to London. There are people who do really go to London just to go to London and they're kind of like almost annoyed that they have to actually go to class. No, I know people who come to class who live all the way out in like Heathrow and places. Like if you really want to go to London, you can find a way. But for my friends that I know, like it can be very stressful though. But I wouldn't say that it caters to the elite because other universities to like live are still very expensive. So no, not 100%. Maybe because I am so privileged that I don't necessarily notice this as much, so I'm probably not the right person to ask, but from my perspective, no. Was it hard adding a job to your schedule in your final year? Yes, but also no. It just means you have to manage your time a lot better. You have to be a lot more like conscious of how much time you do and do not have. And because obviously I did tell my employees like, look, I am a student, you have hired a student. You have to then actually, you know, make a bit more accommodations for somebody who is a student. So essentially I've worked in March and April and May. I'm working very little only when they like desperately need me. I like my job, so it means I can just actually like switch off a different part of my brain and engage a different part of my brain. So they're just very different things. So I'm like, okay, I can just, you know, do something different. And then the next day I'll spend the entire day in the library. So it's quite like, I think it's a good balance, and I think it offsets the workload that I get from uni quite well in terms of like, oh, at least I don't have to like, you know, I can be on my feet and interact with people instead of being alone in a library. So it really is about how you manage your time, which as long as you have to-do lists, try not to like pointlessly waste time. So I'm trying to stay off Netflix. So I'm really annoyed that Game of Thrones comes back soon. I'm really annoyed that Sabrina comes back soon as well, because I'm like, I want to binge watch that, but I just can't. I don't have the time. So if one more person asks me if I've seen the Madeleine McCann thing, no I haven't, and I'm not gonna watch it, okay? I don't have time. How do you cope with the balance of going out and doing your work? Easy, I don't go out. The most dodgy thing that's happened within your course, I guess during the strikes, one of our lecturers marked us all about an average of 10 marks down, all of us about 10 marks, and then said that we hadn't answered the question how she wanted us to answer it, and we just were like, you didn't fucking teach us how you wanted us to answer it. So we were like really pissed about that, because I'm like, look, you cannot penalise us for the fact that you didn't teach, you know, okay fine, you know, you can strike, we respect that, we support that, la la la, but then you cannot penalise us for not doing what you did not teach us to do. That was massive bullshit, so we were like, we were very unpleased about that. I don't know if I would characterise that as dodgy, if that's what you meant necessarily, but like, that was a bit we were all fucking pissed about. I'm still bitter about it, because 10 marks can make a massive difference. Like, I would feel so much more secure if I'd have had those. Was it crap? No, I really loved it. I really loved my degree. I've had a good time. As a comp lit student, do English lit students piss you off? I don't interact with that many of them. They're very rarely in any of our classes. Yeah, I'm just really happy that I did comp lit though, because this, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but this is what I've heard English lit people refer to comp lit as, being the non-racist English lit. And I mentioned that to one of my friends who does English lit, and she kind of went, yeah, no, that's probably true. And I was like, oh damn, I'm so happy I did this degree. But no, they don't piss me off. Damn, what was the English lit students be like with you? Oh dear. What is student brackets mental health money support actually like? I'm scared I won't manage at uni. I at university have actually not sort any of it out, and a lot of people that I know who have gone through the NHS for therapists and that kind of stuff, because our health centre is at the university. My GP is basically with my uni. If you'd go to the NHS, like, you still go to your university. I know that my uni had like chaplain support, but I didn't seek it out. But definitely look on the unis you want to apply to, look on their pages for what they say about student support and like mental health and stuff. Knowing what you know now about your uni, would you still choose to go there? Yeah, definitely. As far as like all of the London uni goes, King's is obviously the artsy one, well, artsy, like arts and hums one. UCL is much more like sciencey economics, and then you get Imperial, which is like science. So definitely, like, this is the university that I wanted to go to. It's the one that I'm very happy I went to. I think I really would have been miserable in other places. So would I do it all over again? Yeah, I would. But I have had a really good 3 years. Is catered or self-catered accommodation better? So I had to do my first year in halls. I hated it. So that's catered. I absolutely despised it. I very, very rarely went down to get food. I hated it so much. It's just this, because it was intercollegiate. That's a warning if you want to go to University of London. Their catered halls are intercollegiate, which means all of the universities put people in halls there. Because my brother had been catered, but he'd been catered in his university, in a college. My brother was then with people in his college, in his year group, so that was a lot smaller pool of people, and you're going to see them all of the time, and you know them really well. So then I was just like, yeah, that would have been great, but the way it works in London is just a lot on a bigger scale, and I really do not recommend it. I don't recommend it. For London, I do not recommend being in halls. That said, other people said they had miserable times being catered, where like what, you share a flat with a few other people, and then you have a kitchen, then you have to share that in these like big complexes, and people said they had horrible times with that too. You know, other people say the halls is the best thing ever, and blah, blah, blah. It's always going to differ person to person, case to case, but I hated it and I would never recommend it. Honestly, like, go watch a few of my vlogs from then. I'm fucking miserable. I really don't recommend it. I had such a shit time. I was always on my own. I just hated it. I would come here and spend half the week here, even though my parents were still paying for that accommodation, so then I felt guilty because I didn't want to be there. I never ate the food, and I always just bought like microwave meals or whatever, and just like, you know, because it was like a little sort of kitchenette sort of thing, and I'd like use that and then like eat in my room on my own. So I made so many videos. I was fucking miserable. It was awful. And then it put a strain on like my relationships, and I felt like I didn't have any friends. It was fucking shit. So I don't recommend it. How did you decide what you need to go to and what to study? So I've done a video on like sort of how I managed to like choose to do comp lit. The reason I chose King's was because it was because it was central, you know, it's London. It actually did my course. Not very many places do comp lit. Apparently UCL do, but I didn't know at the time, and I swear to God, when I was looking through UCAS and stuff, the UCL course was not on there. So very few places in the country actually do comp lit, which sucks, but it's a great course, so you should all do it. The other places I applied to, so my first was King's, my second was Queen Mary's, then I applied to Exeter, I applied to Warwick, and I applied to UCL. I did apply to UCL, but I applied for French for something else. Everything else that I applied to is actually French with film studies. The main thing is that I got excited about the course. I was very, very, very excited about the course. The emphasis my family was like on the course, on the learning. It was very exciting starting it, and I'm really bummed that it's over. Camilla, I know where you go to uni. Ha ha ha. That would be because, oh my God, I don't think Camilla's ever come to visit me at university. Has she? Oops. I've been really bad at like visiting my friends at uni. I have friends that applied to King's for next year. Any top tips? Make the most of their societies. Make the most of Bush House. They've just opened that. It's a brand new squeaky clean building. There's lots of cool stuff in there. It's nice that there's now more like social spaces in King's, which there were not when I started. So, you know, trying to eat in the canteen was a nightmare because there was never any fucking room. But yeah, make the most of the societies. Like, I was sat in the SU with my friend Annabelle, and we were talking about wine, and this guy started talking to us about wine. He was like, oh, you know, we're at the Fine Wine Society, would you like to join? And we're like, oh shit, sorry, we're like leaving. I didn't even know there was a Fine Wine Society. Really get onto the like society things as soon as you can. I did fashion stock in my first year, and I really enjoyed that. We went to like loads of like exclusive clubs, like Mayfair clubs for like £10, but then we just like stopped, but like all of us did. It was very confusing, but like fashion stock was really fun. And I think it was very important for me to like feel like I'm living that uni experience first year. So yeah, societies, because they can get you really good deals on like clubs and stuff. I feel like it just wasn't advertised anywhere very well of like what societies there are and stuff, but yeah, I do more society things. Who was your first friend? I do. Who my first friend at university was. Gosh, you know, just compliment people's shoes and then you've got a friendship for life. Is uni worth it? That is such a subjective question. Is it worth £9 a year for my current 6 hours contact time a week? No. Is it worth going to uni? Personally, yes. I'm always going to be an advocate for education. I'm always going to say that like, if you have the opportunity to learn, do. If it's going to put you into an enormous amount of crippling debt you're never going to recover from, maybe not. It just depends really what you want to do with your life. If you know that you've got a specific goal in mind and you know that you don't need uni, why would you go? What's the point? If you just want the experience, I don't know if it's like worth £9 to then not do well, like go for the uni experience and then not do well in your degree. A £9 a year, sorry. If you know what you want to do and you do want to go to uni and you want to learn more, I'd say yes. Then again, I'm not the best person to ask because I am not paying for my degree. So when it comes to ideas of worth, I'm not going to have the most clear view on that because of the fact that I didn't have to think about the financial repercussions. I know you don't want to hear that. It's not like yeah, but I have to be honest with you guys, like I'm not going to give you pseudo advice based on my very limited experience with like the worth and like financial aspect of my university degree. Are all students broke 24/7 like I'm told, going to uni in September? Yes. Even if you get student loans, like, you know, you still have to pay that money back. So I know a lot of people like trying not to touch their student loans and like try to not spend that much money so they don't have to borrow as much, so they don't have to pay off as much in the future. But also I think students are broke because we don't have the right like money management skills. So yeah, students are always broke. Get yourself a summer job, you're gonna need it. Even if it's just for some like extra money. Like the reason I got a job was because I'm saving up for a very specific goal in mind. I'm trying really hard not to spend that money. Once in a while I like spend it on a treat, but like I'm trying very hard to conserve that money because I want it for a different thing. But my parents do give me money, but I also make money from my YouTube, I also make money from my Red Bull, so it's not just... I just want to clear that I'm not just sponging off mummy and daddy. It's because also look, you're not making any money, all you're doing is spending it. Obviously you're gonna have no money if all you're doing is spending money and you're not like earning any of it. Like I said, if you can get a summer job, get a summer job. Don't piss your summer away. Well, I know you're in King's College. How do you manage it? I am so overwhelmed all the time. I never know where to start. Make a lot of lists. If you make a lot of lists, if you break everything down a lot, then you'll be fine. I sometimes like lie awake and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't done any of my things, I haven't read anything, I know nothing, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking fail. Yeah, that's not productive behaviour. If you just go like, right, you know what, I'm gonna tackle this by going, what do I actually need to do? Write everything down, subsection everything, and then you can like work through it bit by bit. And then I know that looking at everything is overwhelming, but if you just like manage it one piece at a time, one day at a time, you can do it, it's gonna be fine. If you find yourself routinely getting overwhelmed, maybe you should talk to someone about it. Did your sixth form help you get into university? I'm not entirely sure what this question means, as in like, did they help us to like do what we need to do to get into uni? Yes and no. I think it depends how you look at this question or how you interpret this question. But they didn't like help us get into uni in terms of like, you know, they ring up the uni and were like, yeah, let them in. Not like that. They just tried to prepare us as best they could to make sure that we could do the best that we could do. That's sort of where my sixth form's power like ended. It's a kind of school that's very used to getting students into Oxbridge, so people can go like, oh yeah, obviously your school helped you get into Oxbridge. It's like, no, they're just very used to doing it, so like they know the routine a lot better. People do work very hard and they are very high achievers, but like they don't like help us get in. But I don't think I would have got into King's had I stayed at my old school. Like in any case, I just think the sixth form I went to had very broad horizons when it came to universities for its students, and prides itself in its 100% like student going to uni rate. And obviously I feel like that school is under a lot of pressure to get the students to perform, especially because of the parents and how much they're paying. I feel like they really went out of their way to make sure that we knew what we were doing. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like some of my friends might feel differently, but that's how I felt. Would you recommend your uni and degree to international students interested in literature? Yeah, I feel, what was that? 2 English people who do my course? We're a very international bunch, like everyone has their own like sort of background in their respective literature, and then you can actually bring that to the table in such a great way. And it's great because then everyone, if you're talking about like different things, oh, we're going to talk about Italy, now we're going to talk about France, I'm going to talk about... So everyone has something to contribute, and it's just, I like it, I really enjoy it. I think it's a very healthy, I think it's a course and like group that I prefer than like other ones that I've been in. How hard did you find it to make friends when you first arrived? Being at uni in London is harder to make friends. With Kings I found it hard because in halls, obviously, nobody was Kings, so that was hard. And then I made friends with Ellie by going, nice shoes, and I was wearing the same shoes. So I mean, yeah, I made friends with Ellie on the first day. I think in London you're probably more likely to make friends with people on your course, you know? Just be nice! But don't get disheartened when like your friends at other unis are like, oh, I've got 50 million friends, and I'm like, oh, great, I've got that 15 friends, but you know, they're good friends, whatever. Which books did you have to read? Yeah, it's a lot of books. Emma, remember to take an insert of you in the books. To what extent do you think uni changed you? Oh, I think it made me grow up a bit, obviously. It made me expand my horizons. It made me more analytical, made me more critical. I'm very happy that I went to university. If you want to see how you think uni has changed me, just go back to look at my videos before, you know? Bumbling 17, 18-year-old, now I'm almost 21. Great. I just think it made me grow up, and it's thing it made me more mature, and I think it's, you know, kind of everything you would expect it to. I don't think there's anything shocking. I always keep saying that I feel like I'm exactly the same fucking person. Obviously I'm not. I would have changed the way you'd expect me to change, but I don't think I've done anything unpredictably. Outside of academic work, what was the most stressful thing and why? Commuting to uni. My legs are going now, bear with. 100% commuting to uni. It takes me 40 minutes with the tube to get to uni. Whenever I'd have a 9 AM, it's just kind of like, it's way more worse for like everyone else at every uni, because we have to go on the tube with all of the commuters at rush hour. It's awful. You might not be able to get on that tube that's just come past, and we have to wait, we have to leg it, and then people stand all over the escalators, and it's claustrophobic, and it's shit. I've had no 9 AMs this year, which has been fantastic, but it's really shit. It's just, you don't think about it until you're there, because like my brother's like, oh, I live 5 minutes away from the library. I'm like, wow, I live 40 fucking minutes away. Oh, that's on a good day. Are lectures actually worth going to? Yes. I mean, like, not being funny, but then why would you go to university if you don't want to go to the lectures? That's why I can't understand these people who just like don't turn up for anything. I'm like, do you understand what you're paying for? If you're not going to go to your lectures, why would you go to university? Like, do you just want to go for a drink culture party? Like, it's just stupid reason to go to university. If you're going to go to uni, go to your lectures. You should be enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, something is wrong. How many classes do you have a week? So the way my degree has worked, I've had 8 hours of contact time a week. In my third year, I've had 6 hours of contact time because I'm doing a dissertation, so that counts for 30 credits, so that's like the same as 2 modules. So yeah, I've had 6 hours a week. What's the scariest part about uni? It's not scary. This is the scariest part of uni, is the fact that I'm about to go into the real world. Uni isn't scary. Uni can be overwhelming, but I don't think it's scary. You're still, you know, within a nice institutionalized little nest, you know, you're still like, oh, parameters, okay, I understand, like, where boundaries is known, I'm supposed to do, It's this bit now where I'm like, shit, the fuck am I doing next year? That is the scary bit. Just, you know, don't end up in your third year and last term. That's fucking scary. So as long as you can put off doing that, you'll be fine. When people keep asking about stress, like, everyone is stressed, but it's kind of like funny stress. It's hard to explain, but it's like so funny you might just like start laughing and then have a meltdown. But yeah, I don't know if I cope with stress well. I don't know. Anything you regret about picking your uni? No. The only thing is, like, when I hear other people talk about like campus uni things and being like, oh yeah, I live in this person with these people, and like, oh yeah, we ended up with like 20 people in a house party, yeah, we went out, and like, well, oh, it was so great. I'm like sometimes I get jealous, but then other times I'm like, yeah, but had I had to do that for like 3 years, I would have fucking hated it. I would have got bored, or like campus unis to me just come off as very like claustrophobic and like incesty in terms of like, oh, you've all dated each other's friends. It's kind of like, ugh. I like London being very big and very like, oh, lots of people, lots of space. So sometimes I have like a twinge of like, oh, I wish, but then other times I'm like, no, I don't. No. How often do you communicate with people there? Have you found it people with similar interests? My 2 best mates are from my course. So yeah, similar interests. And I feel like I do, it's subjective, but I feel like I do get on with everyone on my course. I feel like everybody has a very similar mindset. That's why you even choose Complete in the first place, is you are a certain kind of person. And generally, you know, with the courses you choose, you're a certain kind of person if you want to do chemistry, you're a certain kind of person if you want to do history, like, so you generally will find people who are similar to you. Different to school anyway, because in school, you know, everyone's kind of there. With uni, everyone chose to be there. So you should find similar people to you, and hopefully you get on with people. Why did you go to uni? Because I wanted to, but also I don't think any other option was really actively given to me. It's kind of, especially with our school, like, it's assumed that you're going to uni. Apprenticeships, no. You were going to university or you were going to defer to next year. That's like, those really were the 2 options we got given, which I feel like worked for most people. But then, you know, what career can you get from your degree? I think people go into publishing. I think with something like Complete is you can really do anything. You really, really can. We've got transferable skills, baby. Do you wish you did any other course? Nope. How do you choose a degree? There's so many. Again, this video. What grades did you need to get offered a place? So, I was predicted A star AA. I did English, Lit, French and Biology. I ended up getting AAB. The most painful thing ever. So I basically dropped a grade in everything, which was incredibly painful to open that, because we got our marks first, so that was horrendous. I was just horrified. Part of me knew this was gonna happen, and I'd mentioned this to one of my like career people, university people, being like, I'm really worried about this, and she was like, that never happens. It fucking happened. So I was right about that. Should I have worked harder? Maybe, but I know me very well. The reason that I like tanked English, I was meant to get an A star in English, I tanked it, was because I did our unseen paper really, really badly. Everything else, because you got a proper breakdown of your marks, and everything else I'd got like an A or an A star in, so I got a D in my unseen paper, so that was horrific. Interestingly, one of my teachers, it was their only job to teach us that, they did that wrong. And the even more painful thing was I'd done a practice unseen paper and I'd got an A star on that when my teacher marked it, so that was great. The next time I was so confident, next time I did it I got a D. So things can just go wrong on the day. That's just a fact of life. It really sucks. So what I did was I checked what was going to be in clearing the day before in case I had to know, and my degree was actually in that. A lot of people on my course, actually very few people seem to have chosen to be there. A lot of people ended up there because they got it through clearing. Quite a lot of people who wanted to do English Lit got Complete instead, or were offered Complete instead. I actually chose it, but that's one of the reasons that it still like took me, is because I cocked up, but they were going to be in clearing anyway, so may as well go. On their website it said AAA, but I got in with A, kind of A, B. Does uni help with dyslexic people? In what way do they? No, I really haven't received very much support formally from the university for my dyslexia. I do have extra time, but I personally think I probably actually do need a laptop or like a computer to write on, because my handwriting is that bad and I just can't type quickly and it becomes illegible. But then the teachers I've mentioned to, are being like, oh yeah, by the way, I am dyslexic. They've been very like, almost like, we're scared of it. We're just like, no, it's fine. It's not a disease. It's okay. I had one lecture like, I told them like, oh, I'm dyslexic. And they went, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I was quite taken aback by that. I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, it's not a disease or a disability. But if you just mention it to your lecturers, generally they will be more lenient that you didn't manage to read the 700-page book they set for 1 week. Aside from that, that's really all uni helped with. Not very much, but also by this point I'm a lot more independent as a dyslexic, so if you're still a bit younger, don't worry, you do learn to help yourself a lot more as you get older. Do you party as much as people say in uni? Well, we know I don't, but that's because this is London. Like, if you get shit-faced here, it's kind of dangerous. It's also expensive, and also I'm a third year. The thing is, by the time you get to third year, like, you just don't want to go out as much, because I'm like, look, I have work to do. I was reading this, like, I saw this like Twitter post the other day. It was just like, it's so ironic that like in the UK we all stop going out when we hit 21, and then the US you only start going out when you're 21. But like, yeah, I'm like busy. I don't have time for a fucking hangover. But like in first year, and depending on the uni you go to, like, yeah, people do. Do you want to study something further, same subject or another? So I'm applying for master's degree courses. So far, I've been rejected from one, which is heartbreaking. I'm applying to a different one that is very different course. They're both in London, but I'm applying to 2 very different courses, and I'm going to withdraw my application from another because I just don't want to go there. Reject, withdraw, totally different courses. And I'm really hoping that I actually want to do the other one. But the problem is the application for it is a lot later, and I need to do a couple things for it. They're going to take a bit longer. So it's like I can't just like and apply. I need to wait till I've done all my exams, and then I can do the other thing, and then I can apply. It's very stressful, but like fun stressful. That one is fun stressful. The other one's like stressful. What advice would you give to someone starting uni in September? Don't worry too much about it. Don't stress yourself out too much about it. Don't worry too much about friends, because some of the people you will meet in like Freshers Week in your first few weeks will not be your mates for the rest of uni. Like, don't worry about it. I feel like sometimes people are so desperate to have friends that they will almost like settle, kind of like in any relationship. You just like find the nearest person and like cling to them. Try not to do that, and be aware if you are maybe doing that, because you will find your people, and don't worry about it, you just will. And one of my best friends now, I only met her in my second term, and also only really became like really good friends this year. Give these things time. Don't worry about it too much. How do you deal with stress and procrastination? I try to make sure that they're not linked and we're not stressed because I'm procrastinating. If you set out a list and you set out very clearly what you need to do today, you'll find a way to do what you need to do today. Don't give yourself so much if it becomes overwhelming, you don't want to do any of it, but give yourself like a list of 6 things. 6 is very manageable, and you should genuinely be able to get it done. I have a list of about 6 things to do today. This is one of them. Try not to go on Netflix. Try not to binge watch things. And if you're the kind of person who plays video games, don't do that, because those are like holes that you fall down and then you just keep falling down. What do you plan to do with your degree? So, I make films. Stop asking me what I'm going to do with my degree. I make films. That is what I'm going to do. Is there a book that you had to read for a class that you absolutely despised? See, the wonderful thing, right, about university is that you do like maybe 1 book a week, maybe a week and a half. If you don't like it, you don't have to read it, and you don't have to write on it. I have started reading so many books and go like, this is fucking trash, I've just not read it. Because then you just wait till next week to do something you want to do. Like, that's the really fun thing about uni. You don't have to do things that you don't want to do. Is a workload more than A-level? Like, yeah and no. I feel like with the A-level you have so like set, you have to do this, you have to do this, and it's very structured. Work your way through the syllabus, la la la. It's a lot of like reading and regurgitating and just like learning the facts. You don't necessarily develop anything like your like analysis skills or your critical thinking. You don't necessarily develop that very much. So in that way, like, it's tough in terms of just like getting through the workload. But then for uni, like, generally you're doing something you enjoy, you want to do the reading. Like, I love getting to read essays. Yeah, they're hard and stuff, but I like doing essays. Yeah, it's very intense because you have to be like, oh, I have to think for myself. It has to be like perfect, but you're not like just reading to regurgitate, and you are usually doing something that you really want to do. Why did I choose King's over UCL? I didn't want to go to UCL. The course at King's was everything to me. I know there is a complex course for UCL. I still think I would have gone to King's. UCL strikes me as such like an intense uni, where King's kind of doesn't. And the King's sort of stereotypes, like Google a few of them like on the tab or whatever, like I fit those and prefer those to the ECL ones. And I do just like that that King's is a bit more like sort of arts and humsy orientated, and you know, that's just my vibe much more. So I'm very happy that I went to King's and I do not regret my decision. And no, I don't want to go to UCL. Should you pick a uni based off nightlife? No. Who does this? Do people actually do this? No, absolutely not. That's not what you go to university for. Are you paying £9 a year to go out? No. Don't do that. Please, none of you do that. Please, I'd be so disappointed if you did that. How do you find so many hours in the day on uni days? I watch your vlogs and have no idea how you get so many things done throughout one day. Like I've been saying, lists. And also I enjoy my degree, so it's not that hard. Try and be as efficient with your time as you can, and block out time. Hannah Witten did a very good video actually on being productive. I'll link it down below. Stick to what you need to do and realise that your time is much more valuable spent doing things you should get done rather than doing just like faffing around. Then again, I'm not the best at this because YouTube is my procrastination. For all intents and purposes, this right now is me procrastinating. I turned my procrastination into something vaguely productive, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm working, but really I am procrastinating. My procrastination is very like, it's right in front of you, but it's very well hidden. What modules have been your favourite during the course of 3 years? My favourite module, I had a French Revolution one that I really enjoyed. I had a like France and Italy, like romantics one that I really enjoyed. I had a novel in the 18th century that I really enjoyed. All 3 were taken by the same lecturer, so maybe that's something to do with it. I enjoy my Shadows of Enlightenment module now, actually a lot. So basically, the more 18th century and the more French and English it is, the more I enjoy it. Was it Rise of a Novel? Really enjoyed those. Was a theme. Do you think that one could use a degree such as yours and combine it with filmmaking? Bloody hope so. Yeah, you have so much interaction with storytelling, you have so much interaction with narrative, you have so much interaction with characters, and like if you want to screenwrite, for example, like you should read, like yeah, read screenplays and watch films, but I think the way we go into it in like analysis and stuff is just very useful, and it's given me a bit more like well-rounded sort of approach to plot, character, all of that kind of stuff. So it's the same skills, but you just apply it differently. But no, very, very happy with what I've you can just do anything with it. Like it's not like obviously you study complete and like, oh, I have to be an academic now. Like no, do whatever you want. Like you're just like you're such a beautiful blank canvas, but you are a very finely made blank canvas. Let's look at it that way. There's quite a lot of questions here, but the most important one is, are you satisfied with how quiet the library is? Where I am, it's literally a jungle. Yes. I'm very, very happy with the quality of the library. I wish there was more study space. It never ever seems to be enough space. It's very frustrating, but aside from that, I really like the library. The only thing is that it's not purpose built, so our library is the Morn. You've seen it many times all over my social media. It's a very beautiful building, but it's originally designed as like a records building, like birth and death certificate. So that's what the building is. That's why it's structured a bit weirdly. It's not purpose built, but aside from that, freaking love it. Have you ever felt like you don't have time for a life outside of uni? I don't have a life inside of uni. For a lot of people, your entire life becomes uni, so the boundaries are very difficult to distinguish, because obviously all my friends are from university. If I'm going out, I'm usually going to go to do that and stuff, so it's very like, where are those boundaries? And obviously I said before, with my uni, it feels like you go to school and then you go home, but obviously with them making so much uni content as well, I'm like, everything is getting very blurry right now. Biggest challenge of the first year was completely living in halls. It's just horrendous experience. How do you keep yourself motivated to study at home? Very easy. I'm very used to working at home. Work at your desk, not in bed. Soft office, actual office. Just time, block, and to-do lists. There's an organisational video there for you. Watch it. Why did you go to London uni? Do you think you would have preferred to go anywhere else? I'd have been fucking miserable anywhere that wasn't London. Genuinely. I think campus uni are claustrophobic. I don't like them. I see other people having a great time. I'm like, alright, yeah, you do you, but I'd have fucking hated that for 3 years. No way. Did you write a lot of essays? Is conflict difficult, intense? I don't think it's difficult and it's intense, but obviously it's what you make of it. You can do fuck all and get a shit mark, but you can work really hard and read everything and get a good mark. How many essays did I write? 4,000 words for all of the modules for 12. Each module is assessed by 4,000 words in total, or a 3.5 hour exam. 4, 8, 12, 16. 20. So 46,000 words for a degree? Quite a lot. I don't know if my maths is right. My dissertation is 10,000 of those. Like, the more experience you have and the longer you write, you realise that 4,000 words is not that many. I feel like that's enough questions about university for now. A lot of people ask similar questions, so I really hope that that is what you wanted to know. And yeah, I go to King's College. You can now stalk it to your heart's content, because I'm not there anymore. Oh, it's a scary thought. And all my legs are numb. Oh god, I've been sat here for such a long time. I should have left already to go to my essay meeting. This is my Q&A. I hope this answered everything that you wanted to know about university life in London. Any follow-ups, leave them in the comments below. I'll see if I can get back to you, or maybe you guys can answer each other's questions. Your opinions will of course be appreciated. But yeah, that's about it. This is the last stretch. Doing all of my essays and my exams. It's gonna be fine. If you guys want a dissertation update, I basically have only just figured out what I'm doing, but I have 3,500 words. It's just been so hard to narrow down, and I find it really difficult to condense everything I love into 10,000 words. Basically, you realise what you want to write your dissertation on is worth a book, so you're like, shit. Like, subscribe and all my jazz, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye.